Give thanks for literacy. Literacy means a life of increased safety, achievements, and community participation. For more than 50 years, Mid-State Literacy Council has empowered thousands of residents with literacy skills, improving their families' lives. Literacy builds our community. Help us celebrate literacy and support Mid-State Literacy Council by volunteering or donating to our Give Thanks for Literacy campaign, www.mid-stateliteracycouncil.org.
We are the Community Diversity Group. Our mission is to foster an inclusive and interactive community which attracts and retains a pool of potential employees and residents from underrepresented groups. We accomplish this in many ways, including sponsoring events like the Community Resource Fair, publishing a monthly resource flyer, and providing public training and educational and networking events. You can find us online at communitydiversitygroup.com.
You're watching CNET, Center County's Government and Educational Access Network.
I'm going to call the Bellefonte executive session to order. It's our work session to order. It's Monday, December 18th. It is 7:15. Welcome, everybody, to the brand new to us council or auditorium. Council chambers for Bellefonte Borough. We're pleased and excited to be here. So the first thing we have on the work session is a trivia question from Mr. Bernier. Is your microphone turned on?
Thanks to a hot tip before the meeting, I have a two-part Christmas-related trivia question. Can anyone tell me how many Christmas cards are sent in the United States each year?
How many Christmas cards are sent in the United States each year?
3 billion. 3 billion Christmas cards are sent in the United States each year. How long does it take to grow the average Christmas tree?
7 to 10 years.
It's an excellent guess, but that's incorrect.
15.
15 years. Now, it's a little too late, Mr. Johnson, but if you're going to send a letter to Santa, what is his address?
North Pole.
Seriously.
Santa Lane?
123 Elf Road, North Pole. Have to have a forever first-class mail postage stamp on the envelope, and it must be mailed through the U.S. Postal Service and be postmarked by December 11th. So there you go.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Is that because somebody answers it?
What's that?
Is that because somebody answers it?
Joanne, you're sucking the fun out of it.
Okay, we'll move on to some business now. Items for discussion, and it's our 2024 budget. We're going to summarize the funds, so you all have a copy of it. Who wants to take that?
I can certainly look down through here. We have the fee schedule and any changes that we've talked about previously. There's a budget in brief page in the budget book I'm referring to. General fund, there's no increases proposed. The street lighting fund has a 0.5 mil increase. The fire department operating, a 0.05 mil increase. Nothing on the fire equipment. No changes to parks. Water and sewer are under the authority and under consideration. Refuse, there's no changes. Special projects, not applicable, sorry. And then same as liquid fuels. For emergency medical service, there's a 0.05 mil increase. And the last two lines, capital projects and bulk water, are not applicable to increases. So the total budget is $14,661,165. Again, only with the increases mentioned. The number again? The total number for the overall borough budget, and again, it may tweak just a little bit with the authority if they do anything with water and sewer numbers, but right now it stands at $14,661,165. That's both total of operating and capital together.
Yes, Joanne.
I have two different questions. One's for the fees and one's for the budget. Under the parking permit fees, under the general fees section, there's a statement that says that the reserved space fee program for businesses is a pilot program. Is it still, or has it become permanent? Or do we need to meet to discuss and vote on it to make it permanent? It doesn't affect the fees themselves, but it does say pilot program, and we've been doing it for over a year.
Yeah, I think we could take the pilot out, Joanne. It's no longer a pilot.
So we don't need to do any voting, we just need to, okay.
Remove it.
Okay. And the second question is on in the executives, in the council section of the general budget. That's where the CNET funding is located, and we received in our packet this evening a note that we needed to do approximately $765 for closed captioning for CNET. The first question, is that $765 already included, or do we need to add it? And if so, I have a suggestion.
It needs added, and we'll have to add it to the agenda tonight.
What I was thinking of is I looked at the other things within that particular section of the budget, and I was thinking we could reduce line 400.314, which is council's legal expenses, from $2,000 to $1,235, which is more than what we actually spent this year, and then increase the CNET expenses by that $765, and it would balance out immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we change the agenda, my recommendation, and I'll just defer to Ralph, but my recommendation, Joanne, would be just to go ahead and approve it, 765. We'll absorb it in the budget as it is. I mean, we'll find $765 to be able to cover that cost. But if you want to move things around, that obviously you guys can do that.
I would just leave Lori, our finance director, adjust things accordingly. Again, that's such a small, it's not even a % of our budget. It can be moved around and spread out, where we overestimated some categories from 23. So I would just approve it and we'll absorb it.
Okay, thanks.
I just have a question real quick on Spring Creek watershed. We still need to apply a nickel to that. Do I need to do that under old business, or do I need to bring that up to add to the agenda?
We have it on the agenda, I believe, under old business to recommend approval of that increase.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Randy, that is under old business to be approved. It's an action item.
So is that number on there already or not on there? Because I thought last meeting that was not on there.
We know the dollar number. They came in originally with about a $900 value. I don't remember the exact number, but we have that figured into the budget. The council just needs to approve it, and then we'll go forward.
All right, good enough. Thank you.
Other questions for the budget? Okay, well, that completes our work session. So
Hey, Doug,
Yes, sir.
can I just say, I mean, I think the last couple of years, Ralph's done a really good job with this. I just want to make sure that, anyone in the public that wants to access this, that it'll be on the Borough website at www.bellefonte.net. And it'll be there, we'll have it up, and anyone that wants to find out anything about the borough budget, it's in that packet there.
Thank you, Dawn. Okay, then I'm going to adjourn the work session.
You're watching CNET, Center County's Government and Educational Access Network.
I'd like to call the Bellefonte Borough Council Business Meeting to order at 7:30, Monday, December 18th. Welcome, everybody. We'll do our best to start the meetings on time and end them on time. Room acoustics, we're trying to take care of that right now. Hopefully it'll work for us better than it has in the past. So right now I'd like to have the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. Could I have the roll call, please, Mr. Stewart?
Mr. Bernier, Mr. Brackbill,
Present.
Ms. Cleaton,
Here.
Ms. Dan, Mr. Johnson, Ms. McKean, Ms. Purnell,
Here.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Here.
Ms. Tosti Vasey,
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Additions to the council meeting agenda. In accordance with Act 65, 2021, if a matter is not on the agenda, council may not take official action on it with the following exceptions. Council can act on matters relating to potential or real emergencies. Council may add a matter of agency business to its agenda through a majority vote. The council must state why the action item is being added to the agenda. At this time, I'll ask if there's any additions to the agenda.
Mr. Johnson, we would like to change the new business item, closed captioning for CNET, to an action item. It's now listed as a non-action item. We would like to have council consider approving the closed captioning for CNET. It's an added expense, and we'd like you to consider that. We can say more once it's motioned and seconded, but we'd like to have that as an action item.
Could I have that motion and a second from a council member? Yes, Joanne.
I'll make that motion. Tosti Vasey.
I'll second. Dan?
Motion by Ms. Tosti Vasey and Ms. Dan. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'd like a roll call vote, please, Mr. Haldeman.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton?
Yes.
Miss Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Miss McKean?
Yes.
Miss Purnell?
Yes.
Miss Sedgwick?
Yes.
Miss Tosti Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Moving on. Let's see, make sure I'm on the right page here. Yep. Public comment. The officers of council have decided to try combining agenda and non-agenda public comment. The public comment period is for oral comments regarding any action items listed on this meeting agenda or any comments in general. No deliberations will be entered into by council at this time. Please sign in, come to the podium, state your name and address, and which item you're speaking about. We are limiting the comments to 3 minutes. So at this time, if there's members of the audience that would like to come and make an oral comment, please come to the podium. Yes, ma'am.
turn my mic on. Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Holderman. My name is Cynthia Hahn, and I am the Executive Director of CNET. I am here tonight to offer comments on the matter of the borough potentially giving notice to withdraw from CNET due to the terms of the settlement with the Department of Justice. I recognize that the borough and the council have been placed in a very difficult position, but I encourage council to vote not to provide notice tonight and instead commit to either fulfilling the requirements of the settlement or preferably to working with your attorney to have the settlement amended in 2024. The settlement agreement appears to include conditions, several conditions, which provide an opportunity for renegotiation and amendment. For example, the requirement to provide an American Sign Language interpreter at each meeting is a fine example of the phrase that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. There are 48 million hearing impaired individuals in the United States, and only 1.04% of those people understand American Sign Language. 1.04%. While stipulating that an ASL interpreter be provided at all recorded or broadcasted meetings may be a feel-good move for the Department of Justice, offering captions on both the live stream and on-demand meetings will surely provide more of your residents with access to your meetings in a form which actually assists them. Item number 14 in the agreement states that, I quote, "The borough need not take any action that it can demonstrate would result in a fundamental alteration in the nature of a service, program, or activity," unquote. Should the borough not be able to provide an ASL interpreter so that meetings could no longer be recorded or broadcast, this would unquestionably result in the fundamental alteration in the nature of the borough's service to its constituents. CNET provides the live YouTube stream, including captions, which can be made available to attendees in a number of ways. Captioning is a greater assistance to more members of the public with hearing impairments, as more people are able to read captions than can understand American Sign Language. And beginning in 2024, CNET will be able to provide captions on all meetings on CNET's website as well as on YouTube. In addition, should the borough secure an ASL interpreter for its meetings, CNET is able to provide an in-frame view of the interpreter at all times using picture-in-picture technology. In short, CNET provides the services and technology to truly make your meetings more accessible to everyone, and we look forward to working with you and your attorney to potentially amend the agreement. The borough has come too far in its commitment to transparency and accessibility to allow the Department of Justice to torpedo your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy, very much. Others from the audience would like to make comments tonight. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Council. My name is Stephanie Peters, and I am here on behalf of the Bellefonte Area Chamber of Commerce and the Railroad Association. I would just like to thank you all for working with us. I would like to thank the Works Department for the time and the energy that they've put in. Since we started running trains in October, we have successfully filled all train excursions that have gone on the rails. This weekend, we completed Santa trains for just this past weekend, and we had over 2,800 riders just on those trains on 2 days. So till we're done next weekend, we estimate that we would have serviced over 6,000 people on the trains since October. So I would just like to thank you all for the assistance and the great opportunity that we had to work with you over the last couple months.
Thank you very much. How exciting is that? That's great. Are there others from the audience that would like to make? Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Good evening, Council. Thanks for the time this evening. My name's Andrea Morell. I'm the co-chair of the Talleyrand Park Committee in downtown Bellefonte, and I co-chair that committee with Tally Fisher. Apologize for just scooting in, and I can't stay long this evening, but stopped in regarding the agenda item regarding the ice skating rink in Talleyrand Park that's on the agenda for this evening. We see that the rink is being planned to be installed on the gazebo side this year, and I wanted to just represent some of the thoughts from my committee that have kind of come in regarding that. We've consistently over the years have expressed a preference for that rink to not be installed on the gazebo side for several reasons. One of those reasons being that that particular side, that side of the park is just incredibly scenic, and with the rink being there, it removes a significant area of that really scenic and really accessible side of the park from general public use, which we feel is a really important service that the park provides, is just being publicly accessible to all, and we feel that the ice skating rink is we support there being more places to ice skate, but we feel like that area in particular is just not the ideal location for that. I think also in past years, there's been maybe limited days that the rink can be used because it doesn't have the coolant and refrigerant system needed to maintain it as an ice skating rink consistently through the winter. And I think there are predictions for a more mild winter again this year. So anticipating, again, not many usable days for the rink, and keeping in mind that that takes really scenic and heavily used space out of use for the general public, we would just like some consideration, appreciate your consideration of an alternative location for the rink if you should decide to install it again this year. We, again, want everybody to enjoy ice skating, who does enjoy ice skating, but do appreciate consideration of keeping that particular area of the park scenic during the winter and also open for the general public to use. So thank you very much for your time, and that is all.
I just have a question.
Yes.
What's the organization that you're speaking about?
Yeah, so it's the Talleyrand Park Committee. It's all volunteer citizen committee that was founded by True and Rob Fisher, who were co-founders of the park around 1971, around the time the park was established.
Do you guys have any communication with Borough relative to the location of the ice rink?
When the rink was first installed, the very first year, the council did ask for some feedback on the rink. And again, I'm here just to be consistent with that feedback. Has been consistently what I've shared this evening, is that we just do not feel it's the ideal location for the rink. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there others that would like to comment? Seeing none, any council members? Oral comments? Yes, ma'am.
Just to follow up on what Andrea just mentioned, there was a Talleyrand Park Committee meeting, I believe it was in October, and at that time the skating rink was discussed, and it was brought up at the time that there might be a safety concern by placing it there in that particular area of the park, because it is most heavily used, but also because there is no cooling unit on the skating rink, and you have to have at least 4 days of temperatures solidly below 25 degrees, that it could become a safety issue for someone who happens to trip and fall into it. So that's kind of adds to what she was talking about.
Thank you. I think it's on our agenda for approval, or not tonight. We'll have more discussion during that motion and second. So we're going to move on to the next item. So we're to the point on our agenda for the public hearing on the 24 budget. Comments will be taken on the proposed 2024 budget. Are there comments from folks in attendance? Public comments? I see none at this time. We'll move on. Communications, written. Mr. Stewart, do you want to
Sure.
take
First
those?
one was a concern, complaint about traffic around Pine Street, Stony Batter area neighborhood. That may be, we certainly keep track of it and record that we have accepted that, and we will look at scheduling a discussion, forwarding it to the police department as well. But there's no action considered this evening. The second item is related to that first item. It's also about speed signs, speed limit signs, and concerns of speeding and traffic along Stony Batter and Pine Street area. Again, that's also no action for this evening. The next item is there's a donation request from a nonprofit called Out of the Cold Shelter, and there's a letter in the packet for consideration. The borough generally doesn't do these kinds of donations, so individually it's something to consider. The next item is from Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority. It's a December 2023 report. Again, no action is requested. And lastly, there's a letter from a resident in regard to changing climate temperatures and what might happen. Again, no action is requested. I believe that's all the communications this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. We'll move on now to the consent agenda. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless members or a member of council requests specific items to be removed for separate action. At this time, I'd like to ask council if there are any items they would like to remove from the consent agenda. I see two hands. Randy, please.
I'd like to pull November 20th, page 3.
November 20th, 2023?
Yeah, for a correction.
Okay. Any others, Randy?
No, not for me.
Okay, Joanne?
I'd like to pull the minutes from December 4th for a correction and the budget versus actual summary for just a couple of comments.
December 4th, and the other one was what?
And the budget versus actual summary from November 2023.
Okay.
For comment.
Rita, I saw your hand up.
Good.
Okay. So I'm asking for a motion to approve council meeting minutes of November 20th, Stover McLaughlin invoice for November 2023, treasurer's report for November of 2023, and a voucher summary for November of 2023. Those are the items for them. Yes?
Randy asked to remove, Randy asked to remove the November 20th minutes.
November of 2023?
And I asked for December 4th.
I thought I mentioned those, but I guess I didn't. Those, so December 4th, November 2023, November, the summary, November of 2023. Those are the three, right? That we're removing. The others are the ones I'm asking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Deb, second to that
I'll
one?
second it.
Barbara? Any discussion on those? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan? Yes. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Okay, we'll take these one at a time. The first one is council meeting minutes, December 4th.
December 4th, under the calendar dates for 2024.
Yes.
The third one should have said change planning committee meeting, commission meeting, not council meeting.
I'm making sure Dawn's getting that correction.
So what it has said in the minutes was changing council meeting from Monday, October 14th to Tuesday, October 15th. And it should have been the planning commission, not the council.
Are you okay, Dawn, with that?
Yes.
Other comments for the December 4th meeting minutes, corrections or additions? Yes, Rita?
Okay, this is in reference to the request for reimbursement of conference expenses. I'd like to make two adjustments to that. The first one is after the second sentence. The second sentence ends, there was no email, it was a verbal discussion. I would like to add that Mr. Stewart indicated that he did not recall having the conversation about the conference with Ms. Tosti Vasey, just to make that clear that that was discussed, and that's why this whole thing was
Okay.
an issue. And the last thing is I'd like to strike the last sentence from the paragraph, because I believe that the way that's worded, it gives the impression that there was, I'll say, a targeting of a person rather than the issue. And I believe that this issue would have been discussed no matter which council member brought it up. And I don't think that's appropriate to have that sentence in there.
Okay. I'm going to check with Mr. Halderman and make sure that he is, has all that. Are you've got it? Okay. Any other comments or corrections, additions to the December 4th minutes? If not, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote to approve those additions and corrections. Mr. Halderman, when you're ready.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
No.
Okay, moving on to the next item that was pulled from the consent agenda. It's budget versus actual November of 2023. What additions and corrections are you suggesting?
These are just this was just comments. When I looked over the budget versus actual, under the general budget, we brought in 105% of the general budget revenues while spending only 91% of general budget revenues through the end of November. I believe that we have done a great job on looking after the public's monies based in this particular budget, including providing professional development for everyone who works for the borough. The second comment is under the water and sewer budgets, and it's again a summary thing. These two budgets are paid for by fees, not taxes. They both had large profits this year, $357,000 for water and almost $1 million for the sewer through the end of November. We on council, as I do not control these two budgets, but I'm glad that the Water Authority was able to make sure that we came in under budget, but I do hope and expect that these profits will be put into improving the infrastructure here in Bellefonte going forward. So there's no changes, just a general comment for the public.
Other comments? Roll call, please. Now this, Dawn, this is the budget versus actual November of 2023, correct?
The summary.
Right?
Summary.
Yeah. The summary.
It was the budget. It was the budget versus actual, not the summary.
Budget versus actual November of 2023. That's what I thought.
All right, sorry about
Okay.
that.
Sorry, Dawn. So we're ready for a roll call vote when you are.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton.
Yes.
Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey.
Yes.
Okay, the next item that was pulled is budget versus actual summary, November of 2023. Did somebody pull that?
I pulled the minutes of November 20th, page 3.
The minutes of November 20th?
Yeah, it's page 3. It's under current and old business. It says Sedgwick motioned and Dan to remove the budget versus actual September 2023 for table. We didn't need second behind Dan. There was no second given in the email.
Okay.
It
Any other
should read
comment?
Sedgwick motioned and Dan second to remove.
You? Yeah? That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Go ahead. Roll call.
Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton.
Yes.
Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey.
Yes.
Okay, I think that clears the agenda, consent agenda. We'll move on now to item 9, reports. Mayor, do you have a report tonight?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I would just like to report on some of the great things that have been going on in our borough. The first annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony in Talleyrand Park was a huge success, and it's only going to grow from here. It was really nice to see people out, and I was honored to be part of the tree lighting ceremony. Victorian Christmas was once again a huge success. We read the proclamation, and town was just filled with people, and it was so nice to see that many people. And I know everybody appreciated the communication with the inclement weather on Sunday and how things were moved to Saturday. I heard a lot of people who appreciated that, and as well as the extended complimentary parking. I got a lot of thank yous and appreciation for that. And finally, I would just like to thank our friends at Giant Food Stores once again. They are going to provide candy canes for every student at Bellefonte Middle School this week. So I thought that was pretty special, and they continue to do great things for our community. So thank you to Giant Food Stores.
Great, thank you, Mayor. I agree with you. Great opening ceremony, great time in Bellefonte. Great, wise decision to move the event from Sunday to Saturday. I think it worked out really well. Another exciting event in Bellefonte. Okay, we have a police report in our packet. Chief Weaver is here tonight. Is there any questions on the report or questions for Chief Weaver?
Yeah, just a really quick question. When I was looking through the report, there was something called a warrant and then a 302 warrant. What's the difference?
Okay, a 302 warrant is once it's authorized by the proper authorities, gives the police the authority to take a person to the hospital to be evaluated by the acting physician to determine if they need to be admitted for psychiatric evaluation or inpatient treatment. A warrant is just a warrant that someone doesn't pay a parking ticket or a speeding ticket or any other kind of violation or a felony misdemeanor warrant. It's just a criminal warrant.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Joanne?
Yes, it does.
Any questions for the month of November from council? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Moving on, we have a parking report in our packet. Everybody's taken a look at that. If you have any questions about the parking report, you can either email the chief or email Don I'm going to put you on the spot, Don, because I know you're usually the one managing that.
Mr. President, in addition to the police report, I would just like to thank our police officers once again for being visible at all the special events. I know it is very much appreciated, and you know, I continually get compliments on our police officers and how they make our community safer and better. So thank you to all of our police force. Thanks, Chief.
Totally agree. Thank you, Mayor. And then we move on to Office of Community Affairs. There are no action items at this time, but Gina, do you have some comments for us tonight?
Sure. I just wanted to, good evening, Council. I just wanted to remind you of some upcoming meetings. The next Planning Commission meeting will meet on Monday, January 8th at 5 p.m. in Council Chambers. We are still discussing the elementary building land development plan. And then the next HARB meeting, there was not one this past month due to no projects. But the next HARB meeting will be Tuesday, January 9th at 8:30 a.m. in Council Chambers. I think for the time being, we'll still hold those meetings over there until we all get settled more permanently over here. If that's, I'll talk with staff about that, but I think that's probably how we'll run that. I did give a brief information about the Safe Routes to Parks action plan for Bellefonte Borough that came out. If you have this in your packet, but you should also probably be receiving an email from Jenny Lynn Schuster very soon, and she'll also include a link to this as well. And I just wanted to mention in it that this was definitely a community planning effort to identify goals for improving biking and walking to our local parks and our green spaces. And there are definitely some areas that you should check out. What I really love about this action plan is that there's an implementation table for each goal that was established, and it gives a time frame for how long it will take to implement those various bullets of each goal. So it's a very tangible, actionable document that we can use to move forward. And there's also recommendations for future grants to pursue and future projects to pursue. If you would like a hard copy at any point, just reach out to me and I can get one to you. Otherwise, you have an electronic copy in your packet. And are there any questions?
Very thorough report from
Thank you. Thank you.
I do have a paper copy and
Okay. All right.
read it.
Thanks, Council.
Thank you, Gina. Oh, any questions for Gina from Council? Sorry. Nope, you're good to go. Thank you, Gina.
Mr. President, I have a couple items on my list.
Yes.
This. Yeah, I go back and find them. You'll notice on the Center Region Council of Governments, there's no reports submitted there. They had canceled the last two meetings, so we didn't have anything to put in there. Just wanted to let people know about that. And the Spring Creek Watershed Commission, that agenda hasn't been approved yet. That'll happen in January, because our last meeting was in November. That's the last meeting.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Randy. Okay, we'll move on to current and old business. Special projects update.
It's just a list.
Yeah.
Just a list that Dawn put in for your information.
It's in your packet. Is there any questions for Dawn on the special projects update? You're off the hook, Dawn, for that one. 2024 council meeting schedule is proposed. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve the 2024 council meeting schedule with any modifications. Is there a motion for that?
I'll make that motion, Clayton.
Thank you, Deb.
I'll second it, Dan.
Thanks, Barb. Discussion? Yes, Joanne?
I wanted, there is, this, come on, stupid machine. Sorry. Let me go back to my paper. I have a question before I make the motion to amend. And I think, Doug, you can answer this question. Did the Water Authority discuss the possibility of moving their Tuesday, November 5th Election Day meeting to Wednesday, November 6th?
We typically, whether it's Election Day or not, hold the meeting. So we have had no discussion on that.
Okay. In that case, my motion is to amend the schedule that was sent out to change the Planning Commission meeting from Monday, October 14th to Tuesday, October 15th, to follow the federal holidays per our protocol for public meetings.
That's your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
We have,
What?
I was going to say that we have, since the big, for several couple of years now, we have said that if there are any public meetings that fall on a federal holiday, we would move them to the next day, and this is just following that protocol. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, I believe Deb was before you, Randy? Okay. Is there discussion on that motion?
What was that date again?
Okay. Good.
It should be changing from October 14th, Monday, to Tuesday, October 15th.
Yes, Ralph.
I just wanted to mention the authority was planning on meeting on December 12th. They did not meet. They're meeting tomorrow night, the 19th. They will discuss their schedule and determine what days they'll meet, but that hasn't happened yet.
That is correct. Go ahead, Gina.
I just wanted to mention that Planning Commission did review those dates and had no issue with the Monday, October 14th meeting. So just for what it's worth, they had reviewed those. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. So would you repeat the motion again, Joanne?
To move the Planning Commission meeting from Monday, October 14th to Tuesday, October 15th.
Okay. And we just heard from the Planning Commission folks that there's no objection to the 14th at this time. Yes, Rita?
I'm just wondering, shouldn't it be up to them to decide what their schedule is, and why should we be making comments on their schedule?
Their recommendation, from what I hear from Gina, is it can remain on the 15th.
Right.
Or 14th, I'm sorry. So, and yes, typically the committees submit their dates that they, unless there's a conflict or federal or state holiday, whatever, we usually go with what they recommend. Yes. I'm going to ask for some support from Mr. Stewart. Is that typically the way it works?
As was mentioned, the last couple of years, there's been a movement to move meetings off of federal holidays, even though the offices are open that day, typically.
Any other discussion? Okay, the motion is to move the Planning Commission meeting from October 14th to October 15th. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Halderman.
Mr. Bernier?
No.
Mr. Brackbill?
No.
Ms. Clayton?
No.
Ms. Dan?
No.
Mr. Johnson?
No.
Ms. McKean?
No.
Ms. Purnell?
No.
Ms. Sedgwick?
No.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item. And that would be...
Point of order, we have to do the whole motion now.
The original motion, the council meeting schedule. Okay, and there's a motion and a second for that? Or if they change the date? So we never made the motion for the council meeting. Okay, I'd like a motion and a second to approve the 2024 council meeting schedule.
Actually, I do.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Right, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to discuss it.
I beg your pardon?
We made the motion and seconded it, or we wouldn't have been able to discuss
I thought
it.
that was for the change of date for the planning commission, but that covers
We
everything.
had, I have in my notes here that Clayton and Dan made the motion, on the initial motion on the 2024 council meeting schedule. Joanne Tostabasi made a motion to move the federal holiday. Deb seconded it.
That was for the planning commission.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that was the second motion. So you're back at the first motion.
That's what I
now.
thought,
It
yeah.
already has a,
Okay, so we have discussion on the council, 2024 council meeting dates is where we're at right now. There's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there discussion for the 2024 council meeting dates as proposed in your packet? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill,
Yes.
Ms. Clayton,
Yes.
Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tostivasi.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, Spring Creek Watershed Commission, the 2024 budget. A budget increase is being requested. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve the Spring Creek Watershed Commission 2024 budget.
I'll make that motion, Clayton.
Thank you, Deb.
I'll second it. Dan?
Thanks, Barb. Is there discussion on this motion?
Is this increase already included in the proposed budget for 2024?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Holman.
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill,
Yes.
Ms. Clayton,
Yes.
Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Yes. Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tostivasi.
Yes.
Next item, tax ordinance number 121822023-01. Looking for a motion and a second to approve tax ordinance 121822023-01 with any modifications.
I'll make that motion, Brackbill.
I'll second it, Clayton.
Thank you. Is there discussion on this motion? Hearing none, roll call, please, Mr. Halderman.
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Clayton,
Yes.
Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tostivasi.
Yes.
Next item, 2024 Borough Budget. Looking for a motion and a second to approve the 2024 budget for Bellefonte Borough with any modifications.
So moved.
Thank you, Barb.
Second.
Thank you, Joanne. Discussion on the 2024 Bellefonte Borough budget. Yes, Joanne, thank you.
I'd like to amend the budget just slightly to give CNET confirmation about doing the closed captioning. So I'd like to reduce line 400.314, council legal expenses from $2,000 to $1,235, and increase line 400.329 CNET expenses from $18,850 to $19,615 to cover the closed captioning costs. This results in a net zero difference in what was presented earlier.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second Brackbill.
Brackbill, second. Thank you, Randy. Discussion. Yes, Joanne.
The reason I did this is that in the letter that Ms. Hahn sent us about the closed captioning is that they need to know that this money is available for them for next year, and it will it clearly states that the $765 will be available in our budget for that closed captioning services. And then if that's not enough or we need to move other stuff around to make everything fit, this just meets her needs.
Joanne, would you mind repeating the line items again for me?
Yes, line 400.314, council legal expenses. Do you need the numbers again?
Yes.
Reduced from 2,000 to 1,235. And then increase line number 400.329, CNET expenses from 18,850 to 19,615.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion?
So is this amendment, I thought we talked about this earlier where I think Ralph had stated that you could use that money just through the budget itself without moving things around.
We can do it either way. I wanted to give flexibility to our finance director, but if you have a motion to do it this way, we'll do it that way.
Well, I just don't know if that's a necessary thing, but that's my view.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the original discussion was $635 to increase it. $765. Until some decisions are made. Was that what was discussed? So we're increasing that now to this, what's the new amount, 2,135? So originally we were going to just increase it by $765 until we decide what our goals may be with CNET. Now we're talking about funding for the whole year.
What this motion does is it doesn't change the overall total that Mr. Stewart said at the beginning that we were spending in the total budget for the entire year. It just clearly states that CNET will be getting an additional $765 because that particular line item, we have to pay them. They'll know that that money will be available. And then by reducing the legal services, which we haven't actually used fully this year, and the amount that's left there is still more than what we used this year. It balances it out. And then what Ralph said earlier about making other things fit if there's over or under. This way, CNET knows that the monies are available upfront when they're doing their planning for next year.
Any other questions to the motion? Kent, you look a little confused as I am. You have some questions?
No.
Okay.
So I'm not going to support this. I think it was the way Ralph had stated it earlier this evening makes sense. I think CNET understands there's money there. So I don't know why we need to do Lori's job. Let Lori do her job if something else comes up.
Other comments?
You're going to consider the same issue under the new business CNET closed captioning. If you approve that item, you're essentially approving funding for CNET, the additional funding they need.
Other questions or comments?
I must say that,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, over here. The echo in this room makes it hard to understand what people are saying sometimes, and so I may follow a little bit and then lose it. So I'm not quite sure, what does this boil down to? Is it a situation where we would have the money available to continue with CNET? Is that what the motion would be?
This essentially just puts in a line item for an additional service that CNET's going to be offering, closed captioning.
Okay.
So council's going to vote on that here in a few moments on whether or not to move forward with that. And if you do, there's a cost to it that's approximately what we think right now is about $765. So what Joanne's motion is just to stipulate that in the, specifically as a line item in the budget.
Okay.
Where we've said earlier, we can do it either way. You can do it that way, or Lori can find a way somewhere in the budget to cover the $765.
In other words, we may not, what the assistant manager is saying is the money's there, it's just going to be found without an official action item by the council.
Okay.
So this is sort of redundancy of what will be discussed here in a minute or two.
All right, thank you.
Ready for the vote? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bernier?
No.
Mr. Brackbill?
No.
Ms. Clayton?
No.
Ms. Dan?
No.
Mr. Johnson?
No.
Ms. McKean?
No.
Ms. Purnell?
No.
Ms. Sedgwick?
No.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item. Y'all had in your packet the Bellefonte Borough fee schedule. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve the 2024 Bellefonte Borough fee schedule with any modifications.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Kent. Discussion. Roll call, please, Mr. Halderman.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Yes. I did, didn't I? Okay. My mistake. So we need to get back to the Bellefonte Borough budget motion and second to approve the 2024 budget for Bellefonte Borough with any modifications. Was there a second and a motion and a second for that?
Yes.
Okay. So discussion, any more discussion? Thanks, Don, for bringing that to my attention. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item, authorities, boards, and commissions vacancies, appointments, and reappointments will be made at the January 2nd, 2024 meeting. There's no action at this time. Folks who are interested in applying need to get those applications into the borough. Follow-up report for earth disturbance complaint at 1308 Summit Drive. You all saw that report in your packet. It appears as though the county has approved or is satisfied with the mitigation that's taken place there, and they will continue to monitor the situation. On to the next item of new business. CNET closed.
Just one quick question. Did we cover 2024 fee schedule? Did we vote on that one?
Yes, we did.
Because that's some reason I lost that one.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Next item of new business. CNET closed captioning beginning in the first quarter of 2024. There's no action at this time. Go ahead. Help me with that one, Don.
This agenda item was modified at the beginning of the meeting for a motion and a second to approve the borough moving forward with sending a letter to CNET saying that Bellefonte Borough is interested in having closed captioning as soon as it's available.
Is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, I'd like a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill? Yes. Ms. Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item. CNET broadcasting of council meetings. Bellefonte Borough Council, as a result of a settlement agreement with the U.S. Department of Justice must have an in-frame sign language interpreter for all broadcasted meetings within 90 days. In order to preserve the option of discontinuing CNET coverage while all options are explored, Council must give CNET a one-year notice before discontinuing the CNET coverage. Looking for a motion and a second to give CNET notice that Bellefonte Borough will be withdrawing from CNET coverage beginning in January of 2025. This notice is being given to preserve the option of disconnecting CNET coverage. At this time, approving the motion does not absolutely mean that CNET coverage will be discontinued in 2025. Is there a motion and a second to that?
Mr. President, I'd like to table this motion till January.
You'd like to table the motion?
Yes.
Randy has a motion to table to the motion. Is there a second to that motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the tabled motion?
Why? Why are we moving this another month? What are we going to glean from that?
Well, I was trying to meet the needs of CNET at this point, so we're not sending a letter that we're probably not going to utilize at all. So it's not going to hurt that much to let it sit for another month to January, the next meeting.
I think there may be some other options that we can consider with this settlement agreement. Yes, Barbara.
Would it be possible to put this, since looks like we're going to table this, put it as a work session for the beginning of next year, so we may have a little more information then?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Joanne.
Just a point of order. A motion to table does not allow for discussion. Sorry.
Did you second that?
No. Yes, I motioned to table. You get a motion and a second, and then you go immediately to vote. We're not supposed to be discussion.
We don't vote on that?
We vote on a motion to table. We don't discuss.
So there is a motion on the floor to table the motion for CNET. Is there any roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
No.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
No.
Mr. Johnson?
To table it. Yes, I'll table it.
Ms. McKean?
No.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Toshi-Vasey?
Yes.
6-3.
Motion is now tabled. So we'll, not being president at the time, Barb, I would make the same request in January. Okay, the ice skating rink in Talleyrand Park. A motion and second to approve the ice skating rink to be installed in Talleyrand Park on the gazebo side. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Would there be a more appropriate location for this instead of the gazebo side, to move it to the extension?
In my conversation with the superintendent, Matt Alman, he was in contact with the folks and found that the gazebo side probably is well-suited for the ice rink. So based on that recommendation from Mr. Alman, I'm in favor of moving it to near the gazebo.
I think, if I remember right, the last time they put that ice rink in, all the water went to one side. There was no leveling of the ground for that to set on. It was better over in the figure eight, but the way our weather has been, I think the folks that want to put this out there, I don't think it's been successful the last couple of years. There might have been, it was very short term if there was, because there was just not enough cooling to keep that ice hard. And you just didn't see many people there when you would drive by. So I don't know. I kind of agree with the representative there from for the parks, for Talleyrand Park, Andrea. I kind of like to follow her suggestion, and because this looks like another warm season this year.
Mr. Johnson, the two sponsors that originally funded the ice skating rink requested it be moved to the gazebo side. They did it as kind of a goodwill thing. There's no charge for using it. They did start earlier in years past, like in December or thereabouts. And of course, everybody's correct. It doesn't always freeze this time of year. So they shortened the season to January, February timeframe. But I just want everybody to know your businesses based here in Bellefonte, there's two primary businesses that sponsored this rink from the beginning to help for kids and people to enjoy. They came to us and they requested it to be on the gazebo side. Mr. Johnson mentioned that our Public Works director gave some information, just that actually the gazebo side is a little bit more level than the other side. The extended side was used last year, and it wasn't quite as level as they thought it was. But I just want everybody to know that the original interest that got on the agenda was from the original sponsors. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Other comments?
I know the weather has not cooperated the last two seasons, but 2 years ago, when it was there and people were able to skate, there were people in the parks through my travels, and it did bring people in, and everybody spoke very highly of it. We can't control Mother Nature, but wherever we put it, I do think it's an asset to the community and something that is very good for the borough and the people of our town and beyond. It brings people in.
Thanks, Mayor. Others? Joanne?
I have to agree with Randy and Andrea Morell from the Talleyrand Park Committee. It is, in my opinion, if we do have a warm one, and it's generally as predicted for this year, it's going to be mostly liquid, and it can be a safety hazard for our kids. I would really rather not have that happen. So I think we need to, until we can show that we're going to have a very cold winter, or the predictions is a very cold winter, I don't want to see it.
Thank you, Joanne.
The motion before Borough Council is what side of the gazebo to put the ice skating rink. There's no mention of weather or safety or hookups, but through this discussion, I heard that our facilities director and the two local businesses that sponsor this ice rink have agreed to put it on the gazebo side. I heard from someone from the Talleyrand Park Committee, I'm sorry if that's not correct, but someone who's informed with Talleyrand, nothing about weather and slushiness, but it was aesthetics. She thought, some of the people that she was speaking to thought it wouldn't look as nice on that side as opposed to the other side. Is that what we heard from the Talleyrand people? I just want to make sure that we're voting on what we're supposed to be voting on here, and we have the information from both sides. And the one side was more concerned about aesthetics, which I understand, and the other option is from our facilities director, who thought it would be best to put it on the gazebo side, and the people that are paying for it thought it'd be best to put it on the gazebo side. Have I missed anything? This is pretty important to a lot of people in Bellefonte. If anyone's listening, I just want to make sure that I vote correctly for that.
You've heard it correctly.
Okay, I'm ready to vote.
Okay, sorry about the hand. I had heard from a community member that I met in the park who made the comment that the croquet area had been chewed up and dug up from the ice rink over there last year, and they would have to spend some money to repair that in order to use the croquet area. So that's something to consider too.
That wouldn't be accurate because the ice rink wasn't where the croquet, that was a different part of the figure eight.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Barb.
That's okay.
I apologize.
No, that's not a problem. I also think this is a great addition to the community. I like that it was on the gazebo side. I think it gave more people an opportunity to see the ice skating rinks, see the people who were ice skating. I do get the weather thing, but I don't think that should dictate whether we do this or not, or where we put it. So I do like the idea of it being by the gazebo. My other question is there lighting on the figure eight side of the park?
There is some lamppost lighting.
Okay.
That's the only lighting
But
that I'm aware of.
From what I've heard, there's more lighting on the gazebo side from the street too. So that might be a consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
No.
Thank you. We'll move on. Next item is no action required. Borough offices will be closed on Monday, December 25th and Tuesday, the 26th, for observance of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. There will be no refuse collection on Monday or Tuesday. Refuge will be collected on Wednesday, December 27th. Next item, borough offices will be closed Monday, January 1st for New Year's Day. Refuge will not be collected on Monday. Refuge will be collected on Wednesday for the Monday pickup. January 3rd, 2020, Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. Policy for elected officials travel/training reimbursements. I'd look for a motion and a second to approve requesting staff to provide a draft policy for elected officials traveling/training reimbursement within the second meeting of January. What this motion is we're asking staff to prepare a document that will make it clear for all council members of reimbursement or participation in training and travel.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Is there discussion on this motion? Hearing none, I would like a roll call vote, please. Mr. Haldeman.
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you. For the last time for 2023, we're going to go around the table. Council member comments for the good of the order. Rita?
I guess the only thing I have to say is Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of our Bellefonte Borough residents.
Thank you, Rita. Deb?
What can I say? I'd like to thank the mayor for his wonderful proclamation of the opening ceremonies for Victorian Christmas. It was an amazing weekend, but there were a lot of people in town. I'd like to see that continue for all of our events.
Great. Joanne?
Happy holidays, everyone. These December holidays include Hanukkah that just ended, the winter solstice, which is this Thursday, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, Kwanzaa, and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So no matter what holiday or holidays you celebrate this month, have a safe, peaceful, and fun time.
Thank you, Joanne. Randy?
Doug, I want to thank you again on your action as president this year for the Bellefonte Borough. I know you melded in quite good with Ralph and Dawn and the mayor, and I appreciate you guys all for your help and assistance. And I also want to thank and wish a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all our residents in Bellefonte and our Better Township, Spring Township, and Marion. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words, Randy. Mayor.
Just to thank you to all the people who have made the community events such a success. I know a lot of hard work goes into it by a large number of people, and they help to make Bellefonte such a beautiful place. And thank you, Doug, for everything you've done in the last year. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Remember to spend time with family, friends, and enjoy our great community. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor, for the kind words. Don.
You know, you put something in your head, and then the person right before you says exactly what you were going to say. Happens every time. I want to reiterate, though, I've always said in my time here, the one thing that has made Bellefonte special is volunteers. And after seeing Victorian Christmas last weekend and the amount of time and effort put in by people, just for not just Vic Christmas, but all year long with the crews and the arts and crafts fairs and all the events. And we have Miss Peters in here tonight, who really did a lot of work with all the train rides and bringing all the people into town. It's just it's wonderful to see Bellefonte thrive, and all the people that were here the last few weekends and probably again this weekend. So I just want to thank all those volunteers out there that do all this work, and it's always without credit, but it's an enormous amount of work, and I appreciate everything they do.
Thank you, Don. I'll go last. Ralph, Mr. Stewart.
Yeah, I want to echo some of the comments. We have a beautiful community that we're very blessed to have, and good people to work with. The council members put in an extraordinary amount of time that people don't know about, but it's greatly appreciated. You make this town a better place for everybody that lives here, works here, or visits. I want to thank Doug Johnson for his efforts this past year as council president. Again, nobody knows unless they walked in those shoes how much time is put in, many volunteer hours. We can't thank you enough. You've been great to work with. Various planning sessions for council agendas and all that have been tremendous. Barb has attended most of those as well. We really appreciate all the volunteers, as Dawn mentioned. That has stood out from day one for me. The number of volunteers that are helping in the various areas of the borough to make the borough run every day is absolutely amazing. And that's what really makes the town work. The volunteer efforts that helps move things forward. We're looking forward to a prosperous 2024. We got a lot of good things in the works, and we're anxious to get started and get a lot of things done. Thanks again to everybody. God bless.
Thank you, Ralph, for the kind words. Barbara.
I also want to repeat pretty much what some of you have said. Doug, it's been a pleasure working with you this year at the agenda meetings.
Microphone.
I'm sorry. At the agenda meetings, Ralph, Don, Julie, Alyssa, and Doug and I discussed a lot of things, and everybody was so helpful and would answer questions and help to explain things. And I really do appreciate your knowledge and your expertise in those areas. It made it much easier. To everybody out there, have a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.
Thank you, Barb. Johanna.
I just want to piggyback on what Mayor said. Yeah, sorry, I'm quiet. Piggyback on what the mayor said about and thanking the police department, but also thanking our fire police also. There were a lot of people out making sure that our visitors and our residents were safe throughout the past couple weekends. It was very busy on Victorian Christmas. It was busy last weekend. But I saw them out there helping people cross the roads. Again, just making sure everyone was safe while they were here and enjoying their time. So thank you to the police department, the fire departments, and all those people.
Thank you, Johanna. Shauna.
Well, I'd like to thank all the volunteers, too. I did attend the Victorian Christmas this year, and it was an awesome event. Really enjoyed it. People were having fun. We were all talking to each other as strangers, petting dogs, and it was just a lot of good feelings. And as far as volunteers, my grandchildren, my granddaughters attended the Santa's house, and they were just so excited and thrilled. They got an orange and a candy cane. And so that's another wonderful thing that Bellefonte offers. So in addition to the volunteers, I would also like to thank the borough staff. You've done a wonderful job. I don't know how you do it. Very few people and so much to do, and it's very appreciated to all of you. So thank you. Keep up the good work. And again, like everyone else has said, Merry Christmas. Have a safe, happy, and healthy New Year.
Thank you. Kent?
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. For those who serve with you, we salute you.
That's it? Okay. Yeah, thanks, Kent. I have a few comments. I won't take more than 3 minutes. But first of all, this building, Ralph and I had a discussion at the beginning of the year, and I said to Mr. Stewart, I want to put the hammer down in the Armory building before the end of the year. And the whole staff at the Borough building made this happen tonight, and I really appreciate that. We needed to get this shakedown cruise done, and thanks to the entire borough staff, it happened, and the contractor was so cooperative. But I wanted to say it's been my privilege to have been given the opportunity to be the president of this council and work with each and every one of you folks here at this table. Thanks for making my last meeting as council president so memorable. I'll always be grateful for your support, and not only the council, but from day one, when I was elected to council, Mr. Holderman and Mr. Stewart took me under their wing, and even though I had the stupidest questions, they took the time to answer those questions for me. So I appreciate their patience and the time that they've spent with me, and we've spent making decisions for this borough. Our work's not complete. We have many more projects to conquer. It's for the residents of the borough and the county. I'm anxious to pass the gavel on to Mr. Bernier. You'll be in very capable hands, I believe. And it's been a pleasure working with Barbara as pro tem, Kent, during our agenda meetings, and Mr. Holderman and Mr. Stewart and Julie. I can't thank the borough staff enough. And this is a reflection of our borough president. When I walk into that office, as tough of a day as they may be having, they're always very generous and cheerful to help anybody that comes into that office. And that's not only a reflection of the staff, but the borough management has created this environment. So residents of Bellefonte should be awfully proud of that. I think that's about it. I look forward to working with Kent as president, Barbara as vice president for the 2024. And I have one more official announcement that we, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Holderman, and I think Jolie was there. Barb, you were there at the Talleyrand meeting? I can't remember who all was there, the committee. Yeah, anyhow, The Talleyrand Folks Committee are taking a hard look at our milestones. We are not swaying from those milestones that we gave them. They are, go ahead.
It's a band shell.
Oh, the band shell. What am I talking about? The band shell committee. Sorry, Barb.
That's chaos.
So the milestones are still there, still in place. We're not moving those, but they need some help and some more discussion. They may be modifying some of the design, and they ask if we could have a committee appointed from this council to meet with them along with some folks in the park. And I've agreed to do that. So I've asked Deborah Cleaton, Barbara Dan, and myself to sit on that committee with the stage committee folks, 2 or 3 of those folks, and the Parks Committee. So that will be occurring in January. We're not sure of the direction it's going. We're always open to dialogue with those folks. I just wanted to let council know that that's going to be in place, and we will be updating council as that progresses. So my last official action is I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Barbara. We're adjourned.
Did you know that all CNET programs are available to watch online, on demand, on cnet1.org? Meetings of CNET member organizations, including Bellefonte Borough, State College Borough, College, Ferguson, Half Moon, Harris, and Patton Township, along with the Bellefonte area and State College area school districts, the Center County Commissioners and Center Region Council of Governments, along with the State College Borough Water Authority, the University Area Joint Authority, and the Center Region Parks and Rec Authority, are all available to watch on your computer, tablet, or phone at your convenience. Simply visit cnet1.org and click the Watch Now button near the top of the screen. From here, you will find lists of programs related to CNET's various member organizations. There are also playlists for candidate interviews, community events, Penn State programs, SCLO library programs, and others. If you wish to watch a meeting of the Center County Board of Commissioners, click on the Center County Government playlist and choose the date of the meeting you wish to watch. Click on the title of the meeting and the video will be ready to play. Next to the video, you will see individual agenda items. Simply click on the agenda items and the video will skip to exactly that point in the meeting. To easily share the video, hover your mouse over the share icon on the bottom right corner of the video. From this feature, you can copy the embed code, copy the link, or share the video through email or social media. In addition to CNET's on-demand programs, you may also watch channels 7 and 98 live from cnet1.org. Simply select the channel you'd like to watch, and the video will run the channel's live television programming. For more information, contact CNET at cnet1.org. CNET has made it easier than ever to stay informed with your local government, school district, and community. We hope you enjoy watching our programs on cnet1.org.
Are you looking for an affordable home located near school, work, and fun? Are you downsizing or leaving the area and looking to sell your home? Reach out to the State College Community Land Trust today. We have been buying, rehabbing, and selling permanently affordable homes in the State College Borough since 1996. We keep land in trust and homes within reach always, so that income-qualified individuals, families, and their pets can find their forever homes.